It's an issue of Scientific American, with an article by Dr. Stiles. But Charles acted like he'd never heard of Dr. Stiles. He sure had me fooled. Charles has... Nothing of interest in there. I want to believe. Well, that would explain his interest in Stiles. Mangas, games, DVDs, totally matching Charles's shyness. Hey, this doesn't look anything like Charles. And it's dated just 1 year ago. Could Charles Eddington be using someone else's identity? I better take this along as evidence. Charles's mom's number. I should save her number in my cell phone. It might come in handy someday. There. I put the number in my cell phone memory in case I ever need it. That's the bolt of the lock. The lock bolt is controlled by the knob. I think if it's set correctly, the door won't lock when you close it. If I set this... That's the... If I set... You there, Harv? He's not there. Hey! I don't suppose you could let me into room 302. I loaned Harvey Kinderman a camera, and I have to get it back to my AV lab right away.
No.
Come on. I know you don't normally let people into other people's rooms, but this is urgent.
Not to me.
He's not going to relent. Damn it. I need to find the right trick. I can do that trick, but I'll need to get set up for it first.
Ah, Miss Everett. Lovely to see you.
Thanks. I'd like to pay before I go.
Right you are. Thank you, Miss Everett.
toilet paper, and nail polish. Home manicure, perhaps? I think I'll take a little toilet paper. It's good for hiding things. Here, that will do nicely. I tucked the help me box into the toilet paper. That should keep anyone from noticing it if they see it lying around.
What is that?
That will keep the door from locking when he leaves the room. What's this? Notes for a new film? A mysterious disfigured scientist. A goth girl named Jimmy. Brain-sucking experiments? Is Kinderman pulling these pranks to stage his film? I'm going to find out. And if he is, I'm going to kill that twerp. Harvey's new screenplay sounds a little too familiar. He's got a lot of gear. I guess Daddy isn't totally against the film thing after all. Or Harvey has his own bank account. Hey, I remember this movie. Pretty good one. Harvey's got taste. Good old Harv is kind of a slob. I'd like to get into Helena's room and poke around, but it's locked. There has to be another way. A key! That would have been helpful 5 minutes ago. I need a camera for tonight, but I don't want to just take it. Helena would probably let me borrow it if I asked. Totally Helena. This is definitely Helena's drawer. There's some paperwork about her student enrollment, but nothing about magic or conspiracy that I can see. It's locked. Why would Helena keep a locked box? It's locked. Why would Helena keep a locked box in her own room?
Sam, what are you doing in here?
I wanted to talk to you, and the door was open, so fine. I'm really freaked out about these events on campus. Someone is setting up Styles, and I think one of the Lambs Club is involved. So, I'm playing detective.
What did you see in here?
Nothing. Anyway, you're not exactly at the top of my suspect list.
I must be doing something wrong then. I might let you live. If you give me the dish on everyone else. Who else have you been snooping on, Sherlock? Do tell, and make it good, and preferably nasty.
Well... Malik is the grad student of Styles' biggest enemy on campus, a man named Linkweller. I have a feeling he'd stop at nothing to ruin Dr. Styles.
Is he? Now that is suspicious. Not to mention rude.
I noticed you have a camera. Would you mind if I borrowed it, just for a day or two?
Take it. I never use it. What's the fun of photographs if you're behind the camera and can't be in them?
Thanks. Angela knew Dr. Styles before the experiment. I asked her about it, and she said she saw him walking down the street next to the campus one day, after the accident. But that's got to be a lie. Styles doesn't come on campus. He won't even leave the house. He's so self-conscious about his face.
Maybe she forgot when it was.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's hardly incriminating evidence. She's too much of an odd bird to be involved with a conspiracy, if you ask me.
I found notes for a new screenplay in Harvey's room. 10 guesses what it's about.
Us?
Yeah, and the experiment. Tell me that's not suspicious.
Was there a description of me? Did he mention my nose? He said it was big, didn't he?
Helena!
I have a right to know.
No, his notes were free of comments on your proboscis.
Good. Am I the pretty one?
It wasn't all that fleshed out yet.
Darling, don't get all worked up. It's bad for your complexion.
I found this in Charles's room.
Oh my God! This is priceless!
It doesn't look anything like him. And the date on the back is just 1 year ago. I think Charles is an imposter.
Please! I recognize the mole on his neck. Lovely mole. Of course, it was a bit less lovely at the time.
No one can change that much in a year. Maybe it's a younger brother. If Charles had a record, he wouldn't want to register under his own name.
One word, hormones. This is definitely Charles. And if he looked like this a year ago, then he probably really is a virgin. God, I feel faint. Can I keep this?
No, I might need it as evidence.
Evidence of what? Ugly duckling syndrome? What a twist.
Hey, hello? Hello? Who's there, please? Or not?
Another. Mrs. Dalton!
Uh-oh.
What the hell is this doing in my desk drawer?
That's Houdini. He has a habit of sort of appearing.
He? Who told you you could have a pet in this house?
He's in my room. I don't see what difference it makes to you.
Well, he's not in your room now, is he? This is my home, Miss Everett, and I don't care to have it smelling like a barn.
Houdini does not smell. You could have a herd of buffalo in this house for all the use you get out of it.
Shh, 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 hush now. Oh, my goodness. What a to-do about nothing. I'll take him back upstairs and put him in his cage.
Put the thing in the garage.
No way! He'll freeze out there. Put him in my room, Mrs. Dalton.
Sam?
Oh, by the way, who's visiting the house today?
What do you mean?
I saw a woman on the stairs, just now. Blonde, white dress.
You saw no such thing. The lighting on those stairs is terrible. I keep asking that something be done about it, but no one pays the slightest attention. Bothering poor Dr. Stiles with nonsense like that. As if pet rabbits weren't enough.
Wow. Is that menopause?
Samantha, tell me what you saw, exactly.
There was a woman walking up the stairs when I came in. I called out, but she didn't stop. There is someone here today. What's the big secret?
Never mind. It's nothing that concerns you. What did you learn at university?
Dr. Stiles?
Yes?
The Lambs Club is really worked up. I thought you should know.
Lambs Club? You planning to put lambs in the parlor now, in addition to rabbits in bedrooms and bats in the belfry?
That's what the students in the experiment call themselves. You know, as in Lost.
Or better yet, sacrificial. God help me. What do you mean they're worked up?
They're freaked about the track and pool incidents. Some of them might not come back.
What? What nonsense. What does it have to do with them, I'd like to know? The conditions of the experiment must remain the same. Those students are your responsibility, Samantha. Getting them here is your job, and I expect you to do it.
Right. I investigated the incidents at the track and pool.
And?
Both were obviously staged. There was a whirlwind at the track that was probably created by a helicopter. That got rid of the maintenance guy. Then they painted the track. As for the pool, what the witness saw was this shape or bubble in the pool, and then the water changed color. It would have been easy to rig up a hose to blow air into the pool for a spooky effect as a misdirect, then drop in the dye.
Did anyone see or hear a helicopter?
No, but there was only one witness, and he had headphones on.
Headphones? And did they find dye in the pool?
No, but all they cared about was cleaning the pool. I don't think anyone even checked. There wasn't any trace of dye around the edges of the pool or in the filters, but it was probably water-soluble.
And why would someone rent a helicopter and gallons of dye and time these incidents with my experiments, which, I might add, almost no one knows about?
I don't know.
No, you wouldn't, would you? Because it's all bollocks. I hope your rationalist bias can be put aside, Samantha, because when I ask you to be my eyes and ears, I expect the facts, not your half-baked opinions. If you can't give me that, you're worse than useless.
At least I'm willing to go out there. From what I've seen, your eyes and ears work just fine, mister.
What are you, 23, 25? When you've experienced something of life, you can lecture me.
I'm sorry. Look, I know what it's like when people...
I want your report on the events by tonight, and this time, I want the facts. That is all.
Did you know any of the students before the experiment started?
No. Why?
Just wondering.
I don't think the students have any connection to the incidents.
You don't? Why?
Just do as you're told, Samantha.
Yeah, I've always been real good at that. Tell me about you and Dr. Linkweller.
I see you've been amusing yourself with gossip, or ancient history, rather. I neither know nor care what Linkweller is up to these days, though I heard he was the keynote speaker at the Göttingen conference last year, which just goes to show you the discernment of the academic community.
Malik works for Linkweller. He's his grad student.
Tough luck for Malik.
That doesn't worry you? That he might be reporting back to Linkweller?
I have better things to worry about than that windbag.
Hi. Wow. Everyone looks so serious.
I get that way during the full moon. Some people do the werewolf thing, but I do Walter Cronkite.
Well, it feels momentous, doesn't it?
We're agreed, right? We're going to vote. And we'll all either stay in the experiment or quit. Whatever the group vote decides. One for all and all for one.
How do we do it? Should we just raise hands?
Silent ballot? Do we need that? Does anyone care?
I have a suggestion. I know a great way to vote that's democratic, but allows for an element of fate. Plus, it assures that the vote can't be split.
Do tell.
I'll write down everyone's vote and we'll put them in a hat. Charles, can we borrow yours? We'll draw one ballot from the hat, and that will be the final decision.
Interesting.
It's good. Chances will favor the more popular answer, but it still allows everyone a shot. Like drawing straws.
Fate. It allows for fate. I like it.
Good. Let's start. Charles, quit the experiment or stay.
Quit.
Helena?
Not that it isn't a barrel of laughs, but quit.
I vote quit too. I'm sensing a trend here.
I vote stay.
Stay.
And now, me. I vote stay. Good thing we're relying on fate. Who wants to pick?
I'd like to. May I?
Go on.
Stay.
That's it then. One for all.
And all in deep doo-doo.
See you tonight.
Bye, Sam.
See you.
See ya.
Bye, Sam.
Did you rig that, oh great Sam Eney?
It was a split vote. It could have gone either way.
I hope you know what you're doing.
Laura's dress. Could Laura herself have taken it? Now I really am going mad. What is it, Laura? Keep going, darling. Give me a few more letters. I'm not sure what Laura's trying to say, if that is indeed Laura. I'm not sure. The dialogue generator is set correctly. I'm hoping Laura will be able to use it to communicate. There's been a presence in the house. There's been a I arranged to see Dr. Ramuskin today. I'm hoping he'll have some insight into the events with Laura.
Dr. Stiles, it's very good to meet you.
Sorry to disturb you.
It's an honor. I remember when your Scientific American article came out, my colleagues and I were thrilled to see such open-mindedness in a leading neurobiologist.
As you can see, things have deteriorated since then.
Please, come inside. On the phone, it sounded important.
One thing you learn as a neurobiologist is that reality is subjective, like the story of the blind man and the elephant. One of my patients had a brain tumor and became convinced his wife was an alien in disguise. Everyone else saw an everyday housewife. He saw something horrible. What clues do we pick up from our environment every day that tell us how to perceive the world? One man sees a pile of logs, another a sleeping giant.
Perception is a slippery thing.
My wife, Laura, died in 2002, but the reality I chose was to keep her alive, in my mind and in my heart. I started experiments in an isolation tank to bring back as many memories of her as possible, even the small and subtle ones. And I didn't give a toss what anyone thought.
And now?
The thing I didn't foresee was that Laura might actually come back.
I've suddenly got quite a chill. Perhaps you'll start from the beginning while I light the fire.
No fire, please.
Oh, please forgive me. I'll call for some tea. I'm quite anxious to hear what you have to say, Dr. Stiles. If you'd start at the beginning, please. It sounds fascinating. I've never performed any experiments with an isolation tank myself, but they may well concentrate certain energies. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. And I'd be very interested in your theories on the phenomenon, as a neurobiologist, if you'd be so kind.
In cases that you're familiar with of hauntings, Is it typical for the deceased to obsess over their deaths?
I'd say so, particularly if it was violent.
Laura keeps communicating about the accident, but I'm not sure if there's really something there or if she's just fixated on that moment out of shock.
I know you'll leave no stone unturned finding out. If there's nothing to it, it will be clear soon enough.
Yes, of course. Have you heard of any similar hauntings, for lack of a better word?
Some of the elements, such as the way Laura communicated with you in the tank and the RNG message. These sound like classic communiques from the spirit world. But other things you've described, the moved nightgown, the form under the sheets, and most particularly the events at the university, those sound like PK activity, telekinesis, objects being moved with the power of the mind. Are you positive all these manifestations are Laura?
Of course. One paranormal source is remarkable enough, much less two different ones. Don't you agree?
You have a point.
Studies done with dying and comatose patients have provided some interesting clues about consciousness. There are authenticated cases of the mind projecting itself from the body, witnessing things that occurred far away. If the mind can project itself from the body, then it's possible for consciousness to survive physical death.
Do you have a scientific explanation for how that might work?
Quantum theory suggests that three-dimensional space and time are essentially created by the brain in order to organize the masses of data that make up reality. The brain operates like a translation device, in the same way that a television set organizes bits of electronic data into an image. If the human brain creates space and time, then theoretically the brain could project the mind into the past or future, making itself essentially immortal.
That's astonishing. I hope you intend to publish on this theory.
I'm still conducting my research. Is there any connection between psi activity and heat or fire?
Yes. Telekinesis in particular is very elemental. There's a classic poltergeist case that involved a young girl in the American heartland. The manifestations in her household all revolved around water. Water running down the walls of the house, seeping out of the wallpaper and welling up from the floors. Another classic telekinesis phenomenon is raining stones. And I recall reading about a shaman in East Africa who could make his victims burst into flames. It would all suggest that telekinetic powers are drawn from the earth. But I'm not aware of any studies done on the subject.
Can you tell me more about the East African shaman?
I'll tell you what I remember. It's a well-documented case from the early 1900s, researched by a member of the Society for Psychical Research. He was traveling in Africa when he ran across this shaman. He put the man through a variety of tests and reached the conclusion that the shaman was projecting electricity at strong enough levels to literally start fires, predictably and reliably. This notion seemed confirmed by the odd fact that when the shaman was wet, his fire-starting ability didn't work. Of course, in those days, experiments in electricity were all the rage, so you have to take that into consideration. Still, he made a compelling case.
I'm wondering if the events on campus aren't some kind of psychic residue from Laura's attempts to come through. If she's generating energy, it might get channeled in unpredictable ways.
I can't say, of course, but the energy involved in the campus events is so unusually powerful. It's unlike any spiritual communication I've ever heard of.
But you said yourself you've never dealt with a case that involved an isolation tank.
True. I'm quite curious to see where this is all heading, Dr. Stiles.
Thank you for your expertise, Doctor. There's one more thing. I was hoping you could give me some advice on how I might help Laura. Help her come through.
Dr. Stiles, I'm not sure what you mean by coming through. Earthbound spirits are trapped here because of some unresolved trauma or an inability to accept their own deaths. The goal in such a scenario is to free the spirit so that he or she can move on.
Move on? To what? Oblivion? I mean, what if Laura could be brought back?
But what body would she inhabit? How could she interact with our world? All religions believe that there is some kind of afterlife and...
Yes, thank you, Doctor. I'm afraid it's getting quite late. I must go.
I do hope you'll keep in touch. I'd like to know how this develops.
Of course. Good day.
Goodbye.
Timmins Park. Laura loved the place. Might be a good spot to try to recreate a memory today. Surely it won't be crowded on a dreary weekday.
Look, Mummy, it's a monster.
Shh! Sweetheart!
Wow. Just a carving in the tree. Doesn't remind me of anything. This is the tree. I carved our initials here on a summer day. I don't think that sitting on this bench could trigger any particular memory. I should try something else. This carving means nothing to me. It won't help me with Laura.
Ice cream. Laura's favourite was orange-flavoured.
I want one of those orange-flavoured lollies you used to sell. There was vanilla inside.
What, you mean like an orange movie?
That's it.
There you go. Don't you like want your change?
Keep it.
There's a gardenia in bloom. Laura would place one in her hair if we came here.
That flower might jog some memories.
Don't you pick that flower, sir.
What? And how would that change your day?
Rules is rules, sir. Flowers are here for everyone's enjoyment, not picking.
Listen, I need that flower. I'll pay for it if necessary.
You'll pay, all right. The fine's £2,000.
Hello? Hey, don't take that.
Damn it. She's run off with the gardenia I need.
What game are you playing? It looks like fun. Cat got your tongue? That's a lovely flower. Did you get it here in the park? Can I see it? What's your name? Mine's David. You can tell me. Is it Elizabeth? Anne? My mask is scary looking, isn't it?
What's it for?
It's something like a bandage.
You've got an owie.
That's right. A big owie.
How did you get it?
That's rather a long story, I'm afraid. Do you like ice cream? Maybe I could trade you an ice cream for your flower.
My mum wouldn't like it. I scraped my knee once and got an owie. How do you wash your face?
What's your name?
Where did you get that mask?
I had someone make it.
Why?
Because I couldn't find one I liked. What about if I give you a new shiny pound for your flower?
Do you know any tricks? How do you wash your face?
I can take the mask off when I need to.
Will you take it off now?
No, sweetheart. I can't do that. Will you show me your flower?
How did you get your owie?
It was a fire.
Did it hurt?
Yes. Laura, I can't do it. I can't get that flower. Ow! I never understood why they put these statues near a playground. I guess you're never too young for art appreciation. I don't think little what's-her-name would be impressed with that. You mentioned tricks. A beautiful princess I once knew taught me how to do this. Watch.
Higher, do it higher.
Shall I? All right. Watch this.
Rebecca!
I was just showing her a trick. Well, that was pleasant.
Mummy! 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 Oh, let me go back and see the man. I like him.
Just carving in the I'd like to rent a punt, please.
£3, you can take number 12.
We're being utter slugs today. The sun feels amazing.
Some of us are more slug-like than others.
You're such a curmudgeon.
I was referring to myself, of course.
What's your schedule this week, darling?
The usual. Nothing earth-shattering.
Good. I was thinking we might go to the cottage this weekend.
We could leave Friday.
We're being utter slugs today. The sun feels amazing.
Some of us are more slug-like than others. I'd love to go to the cottage this weekend. I might be able to arrange it so we can leave Thursday night.
21st October.
I'd love to go to the cottage this weekend. I might be able to arrange it so we can leave Thursday night.
The sun feels amazing. A student, David. 21st October.